Crushing It, Chapter 1, it talks about, it's entitled The Path Is All Yours. And it talks about briefly the multitude of different stories that people wrote in. Some were friends, some were just total strangers. I talked about how they were able to leverage the book Crush It and create their own personal brand, which really is a reputation, and be able to explode it. And he gives some examples that, for example, Oprah Winfrey wasn't just a talk show host. She became an absolute mogul. The Rock wasn't just a wrestler. He became an actor in a multitude of things. Kevin Hart isn't just a comedian. And so you can leverage that. So we see that in entertainment, and we have no problems with understanding that they can turn themselves into a brand and start selling things. And so it's the opportunity that now with social media, you no longer need a manager. You no longer need somebody to be able to spot you out. You no longer actually need anybody else to help you do it. You can start doing it on your own as you start getting influence. You start getting people that are watching you. You become an influencer as well. And so it's the power of those influencers and also the people that are engaging with you. And so one of the examples that he uses is a gal named Amy Schmittauer. Totally probably butchering that name. But basically she became an internet sensation. She started in 2007. She was a bridesmaid. She made a video. And then she realized that the entire room was not only was a bride crime, but everybody else in the room was. She started getting this idea of being able to edit videos and really liked that. At the same time, she had graduated from the Ohio State University. That's what they like to say it down there, from law. And she got into working for a law firm, but they knew her as a lady that could do in social media, help people with privacy on their Facebook page. In Ohio, that was a big deal, versus if you're in like Silicon Valley or major cities, it doesn't seem like a big deal. And then it talks about how she was doing this side hustle where she was doing some freelance work, creating some videos, and connected with someone through LinkedIn who had seen some of her YouTube and her videos on social media, and all of a sudden decided to make a business out of it. And it's still very much her biggest critic in being able to just see kind of her own success and saying that she's achieved success just because she wants it at a certain level. And some people that are driven are like that. And so she basically, as he quotes it, I love how she scratched her own itch. I love how successfully she channeled her own energy into creating an incredible brand. Yet despite having accomplished so much, continues to navigate and doesn't let up for 1 second. She is the embodiment of patience, tenacity, as are all the people we interviewed in this book. I can't wait for you to meet them. So for those of you that haven't bought the book, number one, go buy it. You can also check out a lot of these stories on Medium. It's I'll put the link in the bio here, but it's medium.com/crushing it, and you can be able to read a multitude of different stories that they weren't put. There was way too many stories that came in, to which he was very appreciative. And so where I find this for a lot of people is if they have a passion for something, and it could be literally pickling asparagus, they could talk about how they do it. They could show people going to farmer's market and people will like it. Plus, you can sell your pickled asparagus to people that like a pickled asparagus. And so it's just fascinating where we can take our passions and really meld it into what's really driving us for the future. And that's going to be extremely game-changing for some people that think that, oh, I just have this like a passion for Hot Wheels, which I do. I know a friend of a friend, by the way, that Hot Wheels actually made their own car for this guy because he's got so many subscribers that watch him unpackage Hot Wheels and talk about Hot Wheels. So he's loved Hot Wheels since he was a kid. And so there's huge opportunities for people that have these specific passions to either do it as a side hustle, pulling a little bit of income. I think that's kind of where we're going in the future. I doubt if many people will have just one job. I think they'll be doing multiple things that promote themselves, to be able to be seen as a go-to individual, to be a thought leader in their industry. And so that's ultimately what even if you're not an entrepreneur, you should be looking at the ability to be able to control your own digital footprint, your own narrative, and that people can see you as an individual that's making a contribution. So even if you don't want to do videos yourself, you can be in the background videotaping horses and how you use them for therapy. And again, that could be something that just you're doing on the side. And then by being able to film like these horses and your engagement with them, maybe you get the children to sign off, or the parents' children to sign off as you're using these horses for therapy. And you can just talk about the value of using therapy horses horses for therapy, and I think that can be extremely impactful. So there's a multitude of just different ways that you can leverage social media for your own narrative. Even if you work for a company, I think it's a huge opportunity to make sure that you're being seen as a thought leader. You're sharing some different articles that are being published by your competitors. You're keeping up to date, obviously, with what's going on, and you're being seen as someone that's keeping up to date with what's going on in the industry. You could also put, your own questions. I think when you repost something, adding a question in there, especially like a LinkedIn, what others think about it, starts getting the conversation going, starts getting the engagement going, and that's ultimately what trumps followers. Engagements greater than the number of followers. Sherm's out.